This lesson is estimating with decimals, and it covers Glenco Chapter 3, Lessons 2 and 6. When we round decimals, it's similar to rounding whole numbers. So when we round whole numbers, 41 would round down to 40 because of the 1. 45 or 48 would round up to 50 because of the 5 and the 8. So if we had the number 41 hundredths, it would round down, which is 40 hundredths, or you could call it 4 tenths. If we had 45 or 48 hundredths, they would both round up. So they would round up to 50 hundredths, or we could call it 5 tenths. On these problems, we'll estimate by rounding, and it will make a simpler problem for us to solve. So if we have 8 and 43 hundredths, we will round that to the nearest whole number, which would be this 8. So the 43 is less than 50, so it would round down to 8. For 6 and 73 hundredths, the 73 is higher than 50, and so it would cause this 6 to round up to a 7. So then we can compute 8 times 7 easily and get a 56. Now, this symbol is a new symbol maybe for you. It's a sort of squiggle equal sign. It means about. So I'm going to jot that in. Anytime you see that symbol, you know that the answer that they're showing you is an estimated answer. So now let's try it out. We have 9 and 6 tenths times 1 and 8 tenths. We want to round to the nearest whole number. This 6 is greater than 5, so it will round our whole number up. So it will round to a 10. The 8 is also greater than 5, so again we will round up to the nearest whole number, which will be 2. Now we can compute. 10 times 2 gives us an estimate of 20. Another type of estimation is called estimating with compatible numbers. These are simply numbers that are easy to compute mentally. That means we can think of the answer very quickly in our head. So when we use compatible numbers, think of numbers that are easy to multiply or divide. Also, you could be thinking of factors or divisors. Think of numbers that are divisible by each other with no remainder, and that'll make it easier. So for example 2, we're estimating with compatible numbers. So this time we have 2 and 97 hundredths times 96 and 5 tenths. So we want the compatible numbers, and so this 2 and 97 hundredths will go to a whole number of 3, which is the same if we were using it estimating by rounding. But then this 96 and 5 tenths, instead of simply rounding it up to 97, which is what we would do if we were using the regular rounding, we're going to round 96 and 5 tenths all the way up to 100, because it's pretty close to 100 anyways, and that's very easy to multiply. I can easily in my head multiply 3 times 100 and know that it's 300. You'll need to make sure you pay attention to your instructions for each question as to whether it wants you to use regular rounding or whether it wants you to use compatible numbers, because those will give you 2 different answers. Okay, so here's another example of estimating using the compatible numbers. And this is using the division. So 28 and 75 hundredths, we're going to round that up to even 30. And the 9 2/10, we'll round that up to an even 10. Again, remember, we're using the compatible numbers. If I was using regular rounding, this 2 would have made the 9 go down, and it would have stayed a 9. And this 28 7500 would have only gone to 29. But I want something that's very easy to divide. It's very easy in my head to divide 30 by 10 and get a 3. And so notice we've used the squiggle equal sign, which means about as well. And one more sample with subtraction. So we have 147 3/10 minus 96 9900. So we're going to round the 147.3 up to 150. And we're going to round the 96 9900 up to 100, because 150 minus 100 is 50. And so the actual answer is about 50 using the compatible numbers. Try it out with a word problem. Earth is rotating around the sun about 18.6 miles per second. About how many miles does it travel in 4.8 seconds? Well, first of all, we're going to need to think about what operation we're going to use to solve the problem. If we have 18.6 miles for 1 second, we want to know how many times it will go around in 4.8 seconds. So what operation shall we use? Logan?
Multiplication.
Good, multiplication. So we want to take 18 6/10 and we're going to multiply that times 4.8. Okay, but we're going to use compatible numbers, not just regular rounding, compatible numbers. So something really easy to multiply. All right, so we'll take the 18 6/10 up to 20. And we'll take the 4.8 up to a 5. Because now I can skip count easily by my 20s. And 20 times 5 gives me 100. So this is about 100.